I just hit the mute button on you guys. It never works.
Good. Clap in front and then above. Stretch those shoulders, get your body moving. All three, in front, behind, in front, above. In front, behind. Good, stretching open. All right, let's pull and kick. Kick your behind, squeeze your shoulder blades back. Tighten your core. It's always like at the start, you don't really want to work any muscles. And then I ask you, come on, tighten, tighten, and then you're okay with it, right? Let's start over here for 2 and 2. So you really feel that quad stretch as you squeeze your heel towards your behind. All right, we're gonna do 4 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 here. Then we're gonna go to a kick. 3, 4, kick. Flick it off your foot. Any tension, any rain that came in with you. And step behind you. See if you can really stretch that front of the hip flexor, keeping your hips shining forward. All right, kick and then step. Kick and then step behind. So you're on sort of a diagonal line. Now double kick here 2 times. Go to the other side. Kick and then step. Kick and then step. Okay, double kick. Over to the other side. 1 single, 2 doubles. 1 single, 2 doubles. It's a brain thing. 1 single, 2. It's okay. It's all a brain thing. 1 single, 2 doubles, and then we're all done. It's a brain thing. Okay, arms wiggling, wiggling. So you're tightening your core, trying to keep your arms in line with your body and just kind of get aware of that. Our comfort zone is here in the front because we're stronger in our pecs. Medium. See if you can go as far back as you can forward, which is impossible really. So you just try to limit your forward. And big, 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 big. There you go. Let your shoulder blades lift up. You don't even have to worry about your core right now. Just let the whole thing open, let your chest open, as long as there's no pain. Change direction. Come from the back and dive down in front. Kind of like you're massaging your body with your arm motions. It's cheaper than me. Okay, thumbs down, make it medium. Now you can tighten your core again because now you're not moving your body. This is nice and still. And small and fast. Go, 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 fast, fast, fast. I want you to feel a burn in your deltoids. Burn, burn, burn. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shake that out. All right, so we're gonna do a narrow squat, then a medium squat, then balance, okay? So you're gonna do a narrow squat, knees are together. Open this leg up to sort of a wide squat and then balance. Narrow, then the other side, wide and balance. Your hands can do whatever is intuitive. I tend to do these kind of arms, balance. Yeah, that balance is hard after you've been squatting. Wide and balance. Squat, wide and balance, woo. Squat, wide and balance. 2 more. Squat, narrow, squat wide, lift up if you can. Squat narrow, squat wide, and up. Feel okay with that? Okay, now I'm on one side. I'm just gonna go narrow, step out, narrow, up, narrow, step. We're working our way up to something that's a little more hoppy, okay? So I'm working you out. Out, then back, then up, down, out, back, and up. This also, to me, feels a little more stable. I don't know about you, because we have this chance to center before you go up. Last one. So I'm sorry, the other one felt too unstable to me. After we went wide to have to balance, this felt too unstable. So that's why I changed it to another narrow. Now, instead of that, after you do your stable, I want you to do a split squat because we haven't done the split squats yet. So it'll be narrow, wide, narrow, balance, split squat. Got that? Same side. Narrow, wide, narrow, balance, split squat. One more on this side. Narrow, wide, narrow, balance, split squat. Good. Okay, other side. We did narrow and wide, then balance. Narrow, wide, narrow, balance. Because to go straight into balance was too hard. Balance. Narrow, wide, narrow, balance, narrow, wide, narrow. Now we'll do one more like that before we add the split squat. Good, ready for the split squat? It goes narrow, wide again, narrow, balance, and then that foot goes back to a split squat. Good, narrow, wide, narrow, balance, split squat. Good, narrow, wide. You're getting all stretched out and you don't even realize it, right? Good, last one. Wide, narrow, balance, split squat. Good, shake that out. Then we go fast. So if it makes it any easier, every time you come back to this narrow one. So you do a narrow, then you do a wide, then you still come back to a narrow. Then you do a balance. You go back to here, but then I still come back. So if it makes you feel any safer, it doesn't really matter what order. Just keep coming back here after each one. We're gonna go as fast as you can, 1 minute. So I'll do 30 seconds on each side, okay? There we go, 1 minute, ready? Nope, I'm not ready. All right, go. Narrow, wide, narrow, balance, split squat. Narrow, wide, narrow, balance, split squat. Balance, split squat. When I balance, I really squeeze the standing leg. Last week we talked about that. Squeeze the standing leg, then split squat. That's 30 seconds. Go to the other side when you're ready. Narrow, wide, narrow, balance. And you can go faster, you can go slower than me. I'm going narrow, wide, narrow, balance, split squat. When I balance, I'm squeezing the standing leg so I get the most out of it. Says we have 10 seconds left. That's it. Good job, shake it out. Got your heart rate up? Nobody's cold anymore, right? That's what you're hoping for. Okay, find a wall. You're gonna do plank to downward dog to plank. So you find a wall or a chair or the floor. I'll do it on the floor. Find your plank and then stick your behind back. Make a platform or a downward dog. Find a plank. You don't have to spend long in either position. You just have to hit it. Hit the position. Take a moment enough to get it straight, strong. Good. And then go into your next. Good. 3 more. Bottom out. Back up to your plank. Good. Good. Sharon, step a little closer so you can drop your heels. Drop your heels. Yes. Get a hamstring stretch and then show me your plank. Slide those armpits down, drop your heels. Yes. Stay in your plank. If you need a rest right now because you're tired, just put your knees down for a moment. If you don't need a rest, continue. Release one hand, then the other. Anytime you need a rest, just drop your knees, or if you're tired there at the wall, you're gonna stick your behind back. Now both hands, just kidding. All right, if you need a rest, you go to your downward dog or platform or drop to your knees. Legs, lift one leg up from the plank position, lift the other leg up. Tighten your core. Take a rest anytime you need it. So if you're on the floor, it would be a rest with my knees down. Then I come back in when I'm ready. Squeeze your bottom and tighten your core. Good. Rest, whether that's downward dog, whether that's platform, or whether you just put your knees down for a moment. Bird dog, that means you release the opposite arm and leg. So I might release my leg to my arm. Woo! Try the other side. Woo! Try one more on each side. Good, and rest. Stand upright. Feel all right? A little warm up in the shoulders, a little warm up in the glutes. All right, so we're gonna start with the leg bands. So grab your circle band. We're gonna work your hips. Your heart rate is a little bit high, but not bad, right? So you're warm and you're not cold on me. So if you have a little elevation, that's great. You can stand on something. Gonna go out to the side and in. Are you okay with that? Thank you. A book, if you're at home, a stair, a yoga block. Worst case scenario, you can take your mat. It's just a little wobbly. So if you have a mat or something unstable under your standing foot, your standing leg will work quite hard. Good, so you know how every day we try something a little different with these hip things. Today I want you to work hard at making it hard. So we might need to double up the band or something. I want it to feel like maybe you can't get all the way out to the end. Hang on to a bar there for me, Greg. Okay, so rest just a little bit and see, did that feel already pretty hard? If not, you're gonna make it a little harder. So what I'm gonna do is twist my band a little and put it on the toe instead of my foot. Now it's gonna be harder for me to get out, for me to keep my foot forward and to get out. So we're looking for that. Pause at the top, are they out, and then come in. I really want you to feel the squeeze every single time. If it's too light, you just activate it for a moment. It's like a flashing light. I want you to feel the light go on like a red light, and then you release it. Good, hang on, because I don't want your standing leg to limit you. Good, about 8 or 10? Feel like you got about 8 or 10 of those? Good, wiggle it out a little. So you have to hang on during this one because we're changing it up and I want you to work this one a little more than this one, if that makes sense. Okay, you're gonna go out and then out farther and in with one breath. So it's out, out, and in. Exhale, out, out, and in. Out, out, and in. Try to work hard to keep your foot facing forward and your leg in line with you so you don't kick forward. And in. Out, out, and in. If you're at home, you should be hanging on to something. I'm only not because there's nothing here for me. That feels like about 6. 2 more only. This is hard. Out, out, and then in. Try to feel it in the stand or the swinging leg. That's 2 more, right? Wiggle it out a little bit. You're gonna hold it out and swing it forward and back. I have to change my orientation or I'm gonna hit the wall. So you're gonna hold it out and then swing forward and back. Now I want you to feel that squeeze of the hip flexor, then the glute. Hip flexor, then glute. Hang on to something if you can so your standing leg doesn't limit you. Anybody else feeling the standing leg hurt? Yeah, so hang on as much as you need to because I need that standing leg to last so you can swing. That should be about 10 or 8 even. Okay, wiggle it out. Woo! It's a lot of work on the standing leg now that we tighten things up. Okay, you're gonna swing around. I'm gonna make it a whole half circle. So if you feel like you need to tilt, that's okay. So what it'll look like is when I go backwards, I feel like I need to tilt. Otherwise, I arch my back. So I'm going to tilt, swing that leg around till it's the front, then I get upright. Come back, tilt. Swing the leg around till I get upright again. Back and tilt. And that's for me because I don't feel like I want to arch my back at all. So I'm tilting so I can send that leg backwards. Change direction. Come forward first. Swing around, tilt, and back in. We did about 5 the other direction, so we're trying for 5 this direction. Again, hang on as much as you need to. Woo, try to hold the core still. Is this 3 or 4? 4, last one. Ooh, goodness gracious, that standing leg, huh? Wiggle it out. It's much harder, yeah. And that's okay. It's meant to get a workout. I was just hoping that if you hung on, you alleviate some of the standing work. Okay, you're gonna tilt forward now, hanging onto your bar with 2 hands. Lift and lower, lift and lower. So I'll just let you know what the series will be. Straight leg lift, backwards, uses glute maximus. Then we're gonna do a hamstring curl from that position and then a donkey kick. Okay, so you're doing about 10 reps of each one. The first one is that straight leg raise behind you using glute max. When you've done 10 of those, you hold it up, bend and straighten to hamstring. I've got it on my foot, not my ankle. There you go. You might need to lighten it up a little, Greg. Yeah, it might be just a little too much. You decide. All right, and then you finish with donkey kick. If you want to rest in between, you do. Donkey kick is where I bring my foot up, then I kick back, bring my foot back in, and lower the foot. So a little hamstring curl, kick back, back to that hamstring curl, and down. I'm tilted over so that I don't arch my back throughout this. So ideally, there's like 2 planks here. Susan, feel free to use the bar if you want. There's an empty space at the bar, because I know it's hard with that shelf. Good, when you got to about 10 or even 8, right? I'm pretty tired. I'm using the excuse of talking to you, but I'm actually needing a rest. Is that 10? All right, good, relax. Sharon, when you do the other side, you know how you did the hamstring lift like this? That's the beginning of your donkey kick. You do the same hamstring lift. You just push it back, bring it back to that position and drop it. So never does this knee come forward, okay? Oh wait, now we're on front, hip flexors. So you climb the stair, Whew. Good. Good, and I'm gonna use the camera here for my alignment. I'm gonna try to watch. I have a tendency to open this foot a lot because it gives me more base of support. So I'm gonna try to keep it front. I'm gonna try to keep my knee in line as I lift it, trying to not let it do this or this. Make sure my foot comes out in front. Shirley, that's about 10. And don't call me Shirley, right? All right, I got it. Straighten your leg and bend. Straighten and bend. If your hip flexor hurts, you can slide this on the floor. It doesn't have to be lifted up, right? The point is to squeeze that quad. Many of you have the knees in, so now you want to rotate. Make sure that you've got your knee out. Remember, we tightened up the band. So this should be like, if you can't get to 10, that's understandable. You're using more muscle bulk than usual. The last one is the lifting of the straight leg. Again, if your hip flexor hurts, just squeeze and lift a little bit, even just a little bit. It's mostly about squeezing the quad and using the attachment of the quad up here in your hip. So I've got my toe faced out so that people can work the VMO. But if you already tend to walk like this all your life, you may want to go straight forward. Squeeze that quad. The point is something's pulling your foot down and your leg wants to bend. So just squeezing the quad straight and a little elevation is fine. Is that about 10? All right. Anybody else sweaty like me? It's amazing how all the strengthening can make you sweaty. Okay, other side. So we started with out to the side. If you need more of a relax, take your time. We have about 10 where you just go straight out and in, and you're just kind of feeling Is this going to be enough strength for you, or you're going to need to put more band on? Good. I know I need to go to my foot. If I go to my feet, it's a little harder. I'm trying to watch in the camera to make sure my foot goes straight forward. The tendency is for a foot to go out because it wants to use the quad. If you happen to have a free hand, Sharon, use your free, oh, you're on the other leg, I see. It would have to be the swinging leg. You can feel it with your thumb, the muscle usually, if you have your hand on your hip. That's lots. Okay, wiggle it out. Thank you. I work hard in Pilates, mostly because my teacher forgets to count. All right, so you're gonna go out one and then another and in on the inhale. Exhale, exhale more and in on the inhale. Good. Hanging on as much as you need to because we don't want your standing leg to tire out too quickly. Sometimes that's the whole goal. But today we're trying to work that swing leg and be a mover. It's a mover, not a stabilizer right now. The swing leg is a mover. So if that's about 8, I think that's all we did on this really hard one, right? Now we're making a whole half circle. So we started with 5 in one direction. I tilt backwards first, swing it around and upright my body and back in. That's 1. You're doing 5. When you've done 5 in one direction, change direction. Come out in front of you first, swing around to the back, and right your body again. You can also do this with no band, right? If you're starting out or you feel a little achy one day, you can do all of this with no band. Just squeeze your quads, tighten your glutes. Is that about 5? Thank goodness. Wiggle out your hips. All right, now you're tilted forward on whatever surface you have, and you're sending that foot out behind you, straight leg lift. Hanging on. Now, some mistakes I've seen when I see people do it in person when I'm with them is they put too much weight on the object that they're bearing weight on and they start going into a plank. You're not meant to be in a plank in this position. Those hands are just gently resting there so that you can keep your balance in this tilted position. Good. Is that about 10? Good. Wiggle it out a little bit. What did we do? Oh, now we did hamstrings. So it's out there and you bend to hamstring. It's very different than when you're upright. When I'm upright, I have a different force of gravity. Here, I almost hit the end of my gravity here and the rest is very little of force. You just have that band. So you can see once I hit neutral to gravity, the rest is very little. After 10 of these, you're gonna go to your donkey kick. The donkey kick starts the same way, then you push out farther, bring it back in, and drop that foot. Lift, push out, back in, and drop. Take a break anytime you need it. If that feels too heavy, Sharon, just put the green band on your other ankle. Yeah. Are we almost to 10? Oh boy. Woo, all right. Wiggle it out. Then we're gonna climb the stairs to heaven. Okay, lift the foot up and down. Every time we do this, it's just like at the beginning when we did balance. Squeeze the standing leg so you get more out of your exercise. It helps keep your body erect. I'm gonna watch my foot. Hip flexor pain? Are you guys doing okay? A little hip flexor? Yeah. I think I've explained they're traditionally very weak because we don't use them. We sit in hip flexion all the time, but we don't use the hip flexor. So now you're straightening it out and bending it. And if that hip flexor is tired, you just simply slide it on the floor. But the point is to try to squeeze the quad, then let it relax. Squeeze the quad and relax. You can also tilt your knee out so that you get your VMO, or internal medial quadricep. Tightening your core, tightening your standing leg. Good. When you've done 10 of those, we have the straight leg lift. On this one, you're lifting up and you're just trying to keep that leg straight. Again, squeeze that standing leg so you're not tilted to swing forward or anything else. Just lifting it up, dissociating at the hip. How many is that? 6, 7. All right, take the band off. We're gonna wiggle your hips a little bit. So spread your legs and just let your hips wiggle. We call this the hula hoop, right? When you kind of let your whole body, remember the hula hoop? Change direction, hula hoop the other way. The hula hoop? Oh, you couldn't do the hula hoop? Okay, now we're gonna belly dance. So you bend your knees a little bit and you just let the bottom half move. The top half stays still. You could do this, huh, Sharon? Yeah, change direction. You should feel this loosen your back up. The other one loosened your hips up. This should loosen your back a little bit more. All right, shake that out. Give your quads a little stretch before we start one last quad thing. So give your quads a little stretch. Means you grab your foot. You can grab it with a band or a magic circle. Try to keep your knees together-ish and your pubis bone tilted forward. Other side. And again, if it's too hard on your knee, this much bend, you just take a little magic circle, tilt your pubis bone forward, knees together. All right. Okay, so I wanted to do one more, but I'll give you guys the choice. Do you want to make this one a muscle burner or a balance and cardio? This last move for your legs before we go to arms. Sorry, I can't ask you all in Zoom because I can't see you. So muscle burner, where you feel the muscle get bigger and bulgier and just yummy, delicious and red, or do you want to get cardio and balance? 2 votes for cardio balance? Yes? Okay, you got voted out. You can build muscles on your arms. Okay, so it means that instead of just holding into these split squats where we're just gonna burn and then, you know, do the little ones, we've done that before, we're instead gonna go down to it and then come up with a kick. Down and up with a kick. So you work balance and then we're gonna have the arms come up so that you work cardio too. This is hard on balance, so if you need to hang on with one hand, feel free. Okay, let's do 10, 9, 8. Again, it could be 2 hands or just one if your balance is really feeling wobbly. 'Woo! All right, other side. Step back and up for a kick. We probably did about 15 or whatever. I don't know if you started with me or not. And if I need a little help, I'm gonna hang on. The arms are just adding to cardio and balance, so don't feel like you have to do them. You could also hang on to your own waist. 2 more. Woo! All right, stepping forward and then kicking backwards. This is like the woodpecker tilt. So after I step forward, then I tilt. You're working this leg. Again, if you can do this without hanging on, it would look like that. You're working your front leg. Should work the buttocks of the front leg. 2 more. Woo, change sides. Step forward. Tilt. Split squat, tilt. Again, hang on if you need it with one hand, or don't do any hands. Split squat, tilt. You should feel it in the front leg. How about 2 more? Out to the side. Ready? Last one, right? You knew that, last one. So I step out to the side and then up. So I'm working this leg. Try to keep my hips shining forward. Keep your knees wide if you can. Last one, I think. Is that about 10? Probably close enough. This side, squat, kick. It should be nice and rewarding in the butt cheek of the standing leg. And that can also be a tap out. You do not have to kick, right? I should have shown you before. The kicking is harder on balance, but you don't have to do it. I should have done something with the arms for this, huh? Yeah, maybe. Wow, it's kind of hard. I don't know if I can do that. 2 more. Last one. All right, shake it out. All right, so you got a little burn, but heart rate is up, right? Ready for the arms? Grab your arm weights. Whew. We're not going to need a whole lot of burn at the end of this because we've already got our heart rate up 2 times. All right, starting with, let's do biceps for a change. Thank you, James. Biceps, you usually have a heavy one. I'll just do a heavy and a light. Hang here. Let's lift the heavy one and hold the light one. Now, if I have a little twist in my hand, it's going to be a little easier because I use brachioradialis to lift. So this makes it a little easier, but I could do it just straight up and down, and that's a little harder. That's only the biceps. So it all depends also on your tendons. If you're feeling a little icky, you might not want to do that much strain on your bicep. That's about 10. Change. One holds, the light one, and the other heavy one lifts. And again, you're welcome to twist it. I've got to just wipe my face for a second. Sorry about that. Is that about 10? No, not yet. What did you say, yes? 8, okay, 9, 10. Okay, not too hard, right? I didn't see anybody straining, which is okay. But now you need to put both of the weights into one hand. So for you, you're gonna use a band, okay? Both your weights in one hand. Hold it at halfway. Pulse it halfway up, halfway down, halfway up, halfway down. So now I had 10 in one hand, 5 in the other. Of course, if I had 20 in one hand, I'm not gonna put 40 in this arm, but you wanna make it harder is my point. And you're only doing the mid-range of your muscle. So you're not totally relaxing at the top or the bottom. I think we have about 3 more. 2, 1. You just keep going, just keep going. We're swapping to the other side. So I hold it at halfway. I'm gonna go down a little bit, up a little bit. If you can, James, try not to go to the top of your range. At the top of the range, it's resting. I don't need any muscles to hold me here. So I never want you to get there, at least not for this round. Good, belly button's pulled in, nice and tight. Are we getting close to 10? 8, okay. Stop if you're at 10, 9, 10. Good, that got us a little more workout, right? Triceps. Okay, so one arm is gonna hold. I think I'm gonna have you hold it here, but if I start to see your shoulder drag, then I'll have you hold it here. Okay, so the light arm is holding. You can either hold it here if you feel like you're gonna drag, or straight out is harder because it's heavier when it's straight out. The other arm is doing the tricep kickback, or whatever you wanna call it, extension. So my heavier weight is doing a tricep extension. My lighter weight is holding there, but if you find that you're slooping down, bend the elbow and hold it here. That should be about 10, right? Maybe 8, 9, 10. Swap. So both are back. I'm gonna straighten because I'm feeling pretty confident. Then I'm gonna straighten out. But if I start feeling my compromise and my shoulder dripping down, I'm gonna bend that back elbow. Make sure you pause a little bit at the end. You straighten that arm and pause for just a moment. Don't forget those shoulder blades squeeze. If you forgot, you really just need to rest for a second and then come back in. That surely is 10. Oh my goodness gracious. Whew. Okay, feeling all right? Let's go straight with overhead. You've got these nice heavy ones. Now, if anybody hasn't done overhead for a while or they feel compromised, lighten it up. Otherwise, I'd rather you take the heavy ones for the overhead. And it's not over my head, it's over my eyebrows or the crown of my forehead. That's about 5. Hold your light one out like this. Let the heavier one move for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then both for one last round of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Swap it around. If you didn't find a woo at the end of that, you might need to pump up your weights a little. Okay, so most of us kind of started and we went here, right? Kind of narrow. But what I wanted you to focus on was if you can come back to here each time. So we have 5 bilateral above my forehead, 3, 4, 5. Then my light arm is going to hold here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got one more set with bilateral. If you're totally exhausted, just rest. 2, 3, 4, woo, 5. Oh, that's a nice burn. Woo. Anybody else feel that? Very good. I felt it all over. It felt like my triceps were working because every time you push up, you have to squeeze that tricep. My biceps were working when I had to hold it here, my upper delts. So those are really nice functional exercises, but they're hard. So if you had to start with a 3-pound or a 2-pound, it's fine. But most of us have gotten up because we've been practicing. All right, let's do those deltoids. You might choose, obviously, a lighter weight than what you just had. Depends on what you want. You also can use your band, right? So straight up and down. I've given myself a little bit heavy of a load, so if I'm moving slower than you and you got a lighter load, just go faster than me. You don't have to match my pace. And you might go to 10 and I might go to 8. But I didn't do this part of my program yesterday, so I have to do hard. About 10 for everybody? Yeah, no? Okay, let's swap over. We're gonna do a hold after this, so don't worry, just keep moving both arms for this one, and then we'll do a little hold and pulse. Just coming up to my shoulder level, trying to hold my body nice and still, not swinging my body to lift those weights. Owie? Owie. Good, I like that. That's a good one. Okay, so I don't feel burned out and I did my 10 and 10. So I'm gonna work to burn out for myself. If you don't feel comfortable with that, don't. So I'm picking up more weights and I'm gonna hold it there. Okay, I'm gonna hold it there. Okay, and we're gonna go down a little and up a little. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, I might not make it. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. And I told you I might not make it, meaning if we quit before, you quit before. You don't have to make it to 10. It's just trying to push that last bit out. Back to your lighter weights, side lifting. So those little bursts that hardly took 10 seconds. If you don't feel comfortable and you don't want to do it, just don't do it. Usually when we do that mid-range, that's when you're the strongest, when we do those mid-ranges. So it's building a little muscle bulk. You may or may not like that on your body. You have to decide. I've got 2 more for me. Oh boy. And swapping, other side, other weights, heavy weights in the other side. We've talked about the angles of the hand. Generally, it's nice to put the back of the hand up toward the ceiling. But if you want to externally rotate, you put your thumbs toward the ceiling. Just might not feel good for your arms. You have to decide. Ooh. And I'm feeling exhausted, so I'm just going to go one at a time because I met my limit. And we haven't met 10 yet. About 10? Okay. So for me, I met my limit on my last one, so it means I'm not going to add more weight. But if you didn't meet your limit, if you felt like that was pretty easy, put more weight in. We're going to hold. We're going to go down a little and up a little for 10. I'll probably only make less because I'm tired today. Down and up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh my goodness gracious. Did we do both sides last time? No, just one of those pushes. Okay. All right. Now we go light again, especially for this one. This is the one where you could even do with no weights. My body is parallel to the floor and I'm trying to reach my fingertips out with those weights. If you want to hang on to your legs, you can do that too, so that you support your back. Feel free to just do one arm. Feel free to do this with no weights. But the point is to use the back of the arm and not always the shoulder blade. So don't worry about squeezing your shoulder blades. Try to pull your arm out of the socket like you're on a stretcher once you get there. Hopefully not the kind that go to the hospital. Is that about 10? Swapping over. Start when you're ready. You got 10. Should be about 10 for most of you. I've got 2 more myself. Woo! Anybody feel like they need the last burst? You want to try the last burst, or are you all worn out? You're good. Good, I'm good too. Grab your band, the long band, or it can be the circular band. We're going to do external rotation. External rotation. So you always want the band to be tight enough that you can't quite get all the way out to the end of your range. Again, also today we're working on a little bit more resistance and more bulk. Some days we're working on more joint lubrication. When you've done about 10, give it a break. And then challenge your balance, either standing on one leg or tandem or Romberg, and do one arm only. 10. The other arm is reacting. It's holding still. Whew. Rest if you need it before you start the other arm. I know I need it. Other arm, other leg. Tighten that core. Oh boy, I only got to 5, but hopefully you're still going. Woo-wee. So nice. Everybody got a little burn? Yeah, so if you didn't finish, that's okay. That's just building muscle bulk. That's a rotator cuff, okay? We're gonna do one more similar rotator cuff. It's gonna be like throwing the ball, okay? So this hand will be out with the band. And you'll have to regulate how much band. I think I'm gonna put more long band at the front and less band here. Ooh, my deltoids are sore. So you come back like you're throwing the ball, okay? Come back like you're throwing. Now, I obviously don't have enough resistance to make that hard. There we go. So you're doing external rotation with the, for me, it's my right shoulder right now. I'm trying not to cock my wrist, right? I don't need extra stuff happening there. And I'm feeling pretty darn worn out because of my deltoids. So I'm gonna do 3, 2, 1. That's all I got in me for that side. Whew. I'm gonna be like a monkey after this and just hang out for a little bit. Okay, now you're on the other side, right? How did I do that? This hand holds still, this hand goes backwards. And I wanna grab it just right. See, think of sending the wrist farther than the shoulder. So right now you're rotating back, but you're not getting quite as much external rotation. There you go. Almost. You wouldn't throw a ball with a straight arm, right? So keep that arms bent, right? You wouldn't start the ball throwing it like that. You'd always have it cocked, right? So you just think literally, I'm gonna throw a ball. You're like, damn, my ball's gonna go from here. Good, that's a hard one. It's a scoliosis correction exercise. So if you actually have scoliosis or you have some off balance that you wanna correct, usually you'd sit down so that both sit bones are even. You'd hold that arm out and you'd go toward the side that's harder. So without me looking at somebody's scoliosis, it's hard to tell. But usually if I'm a little bit like this, like you can see my scoliosis, I'm gonna need to rotate that way to correct my scoliosis, right? Because if I have scoliosis like this and I rotate this way, you see how I'm making it worse. So it's a scoliosis corrective technique, but we can use it in our day-to-day lives because often we create scoliosis on ourselves. Like you sit in the car and you don't put your whole butt in the car seat, you know, and half your butt cheek is hanging on the outside of the, I've already made myself have scoliosis just driving, right? It's not scoliosis, but I'm saying off balances. So if you want, you can do this sitting down and you can kind of see, oh, and maybe watch yourself in the mirror. Can I keep my ribs on top of my pelvis or do I keep sliding one way or another? Do I find my butt keeps lifting up? Okay? All right, that was a nice excuse to give you a rest, right? Okay, what haven't we worked in our arms? Face, we've pretty much done face pull too. So you know how we used to do face pull? We put it on the thing and we do this, face pull. That's one way of doing face pull with just one arm. Okay, we've done enough of the arms. Let's do our core. So find a mat, lay down. You guys are so game. You're a great group. I just love it. And I know everybody there on Zoom, you guys would have a great time here and we miss you. I wish we could have like a big screen here so you can see them. But they probably wouldn't join on Zoom then if I did that to them. All right, laying down flat on your back. Remember, we're not doing Pilates per se, we're just trying to get some core work in. So it might be a little harder than you anticipate, right? Lift your right leg up to tabletop, left leg to tabletop. You're gonna try to tap both toes down and lift them back up. Tap both toes down and lift them back up. If that feels like your back has to move, right? If you're arching, then you might need to go to 1 foot only. Ideally, your back just stays the same. Both feet go down, both feet come up. 3 more. Brace your tummy so your tummy doesn't change at all. Your knees don't change angles. Good. Pause with your feet, tabletop. Point to the ceiling and bend to tabletop. This is your rest. So it's not much of a rest because you still have to work your core to hold your knees in tabletop. Squeeze. Good, we're gonna add to this one a little bit. So after my tabletop goes down, I'm gonna extend one leg, the other leg, bring it back, and both feet up. Both feet down, extend one, extend the other. I'm hardly resting my feet, not even on the floor, and up. Change the one that you stretch out first so that you don't stretch out the same one each time. Down, stretch one out, other out. I'm just hovering above the ground. Bring it back in, and back up. How about we do 2 more? That'll make 6. I'm hovering. And if this hurts your back, you don't do the extending out. Last one. Hover, hover, hover with those straight legs. Bring it back in, back up to tabletop, and now you rest with your pointing and bending. And again, it's not much of a rest, so if you actually need a rest, just put your feet down and have a real rest. Okay, we're gonna add the arms, fingertips up toward the ceiling. Why don't you just let your knees stay in tabletop? As you go overhead, I want your ribs to slide down, then come back up. Overhead, and they slide down. So you're gonna add this arm overhead to your feet dropping. And it's gonna ask, your back is gonna wanna do that, right? And you have to prevent that by using your muscles. So tap down with the toes, arms overhead, come back up. If that challenge is too much, you can do one leg at a time. Tighten your core. You're just hovering those little toes over the top and then bring them back up. Can you do 4 more? 3. Tighten that core. 2. Last one. Good. Give a little break. Knees into your chest. Okay, the final challenge, right? The arms are going to go overhead and the legs extend out. It's very challenging on your back. So if you feel any pain, your core can't hold it, don't do it. Do one leg instead. All right, so as I go down and my arms go overhead, then I extend my legs out and I hover. Bring them back in and back up. Okay, so I'm doing the hardest version. My arms are hovering above the ground. My legs are hovering above the ground. Bend and back up. If this is too hard, you can just take one out and the other. Bring one in and the other. You could also touch the floor if you need to. The hardest version, you don't touch the floor. You hover and you keep your back still. How about 3 more? Tighten your core. Do not let this hurt your back. Is that 2? Good. Snuggle your legs. We're going to go to coffin circles to break up the tummy and the back work a little bit. So lay your legs straight. You can do one leg and then the other. Cross your arms over your chest. That's easier. Oh, actually, the easiest is hands by your hips. This would be level 2, level 3, level 4. You lift up and circle around. 10 in each direction. Feel free to break it up into 5, 5, 5, 5 if you like. Your legs stay still, down on the floor. Belly button's pulled in. Imagine smashing your lower back into the floor. Really pull that tummy down and in. Again, you got levels 1 down here by my trousers. Level 2 across my chest. Level 3 behind my head. Level 4 straight up. When you're done with your 10 and 10, relax for a moment, stretch it long. Very Very good. Lift your right arm. If your arms are overhead and your legs are straight, lift your left leg and your right arm. Put them down and lift the other. Okay, this is level 1. I rest one before I lift the other. Stitch your ribs together. Make sure you're all nice and tight. If I come around and tap your tummy, you're ready for it, right? So it's opposite arm, opposite leg. If you feel fine, go on to level 2. They swap in the middle. They swap simultaneously. So you have one moment in time when both are lifted off the floor. Level 2. Good. Level 3 for just 4 reps. Lift both up, lift both down and hover. Up and down and hover. 2 more. Good, and rest. Feeling okay? Can we do that one more time? You choose your level. Level 1, 2, or 3, 8 repetitions max. Level 1 was opposite arm, opposite leg lifts, but one stays on the floor. Tighten your core and don't let anything move here. Level 2 was they simultaneously swap, and you're only doing 8 reps each. Level 3, both lift up and hover. Lift up and hover. Rest when you're done. Whew. Roll onto your side, sit up. We're gonna stand up our special way, right? Okay, if you can do it with no hands, you try to get up onto 2 knees. 1 knee, up. Very nice. Yeah, go ahead, get back down if you want. And try the other side maybe, right? So if you put your bottom on the other side, can you do the other side? Up, up. Yay, you did it! All right, feet sit bones width apart. Take a big breath in and reach up. Then let your arms melt down. Breath in, roll down 1 vertebrae at a time. Pause at the bottom, breath in, and roll back up. Oh, well done. Very proud of you guys. That was a good, we did a full hour. So we went 5 minutes after because I started late, but good job. You did.
And I didn't know if I should